Have you ever wondered if the universe has, a source code? Today, we're diving into this incredible idea that connects ancient mysticism with modern psychology. The belief that this code isn't written in ones and zeros, but in numbers. Yeah? Turns out, the simple act of counting might just be the key to understanding God, the cosmos, and maybe even ourselves.
I mean, think about it. We use numbers for everything, right? To measure stuff, to count our money, to organize our lives. They seem pretty straightforward, just practical, everyday tools. But what if that's just barely scratching the surface?
What if numbers are actually a fundamental language, a kind of divine source code that gives structure not just to the physical world around us, but to our own consciousness? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack. We'll see how a 19th century mystic, a secret society of builders, and a groundbreaking psychologist all somehow landed on the same wild conclusion.
So let's kick things off in the esoteric world of a 19th century mystic named William Wynn Westcott. Now, this guy was a co-founder of the legendary Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And for him and his followers, numbers weren't just symbols you write down. No, they were the keys to unlocking the very secrets of creation itself.
See, for Westcott, numbers weren't just abstract ideas. He saw them as living, breathing forces, cosmic realities with their own personalities and powers that are actively shaping the universe. In his view, we don't invent math, we discover it, like finding a hidden law of nature.
He actually saw the entire story of creation unfolding in just the first four numbers. It's like this. It all starts with 1, the monad, this state of pure, undivided unity, the source of everything. Then that unity splits into 2, the dyad, which creates all the opposites, like light and dark, spirit and matter. Next up is 3, the triad, which brings those opposites together into the first stable shape, a triangle. And finally, you get 4, the tetrad, which takes that form and grounds it in the physical world of the 4 elements. It's literally a journey from an idea to reality. Okay, so from the mystic's code, let's switch gears and look at the builder's blueprint. Because in the world of Freemasonry, these big cosmic ideas aren't just for thinking about the universe, they're actual tools for building a better self.
The whole philosophy is brilliantly packed into a single letter. For Masons, that G you see at the heart of their symbol stands for 2 things at once: God, who they call the grand architect of the universe, and geometry, the divine plan he used to build it all. It's simple, right? To understand the plan is to understand the architect.
But the absolute peak of this idea, this fusion of God and geometry, is found in the main symbol of a Master Mason. And get this, it's not some secret spooky sigil, it's a math proof you definitely learned in school. It's known as Euclid's 47th problem, but you'll recognize it as the Pythagorean theorem. For them, this isn't just about triangles, it's a map of the entire universe.
So here's how they see it, drawing from ancient Egyptian lore. The side of the triangle with the length of 3, that represents the active masculine principle, the god Osiris.
Then you have the side with the length of 4. That represents the receptive feminine principle of the goddess Isis, the stable foundation of the material world. And when those 2 unite, what do you get? The hypotenuse with a length of 5. This represents their child, Horus, a perfect, balanced being born from the harmony of those 2 opposites. So suddenly, a simple equation becomes this deep, spiritual formula. It's a lesson, balancing the opposing forces inside yourself, the spiritual and the material, the active and the passive. That is the real key to creating a new, more whole version of yourself. Pretty cool, huh?
And this whole idea of balancing your inner forces to become whole, well, that leads us perfectly to our final perspective, the incredible work of the psychologist Carl Jung. He found these exact same ancient patterns, not in old texts, but in the modern landscape of the human mind.
Jung had this theory about something he called the Unus Mundus, which is just Latin for one world. He believed it was this deep layer of reality where the line between your mind and the physical world, between your inner thoughts and the outer universe, just completely dissolves.
And guess what he thought were the very first patterns to bubble up from this unified field? Numbers. For Jung, numbers were the most basic archetypes of order. They structure our minds and the physical universe at the same time. They're the bridge that connects mind and matter.
Now, Jung was especially fascinated by the psychological tug-of-war between the numbers 3 and 4. He argued that a lot of Western thought, with its focus on the Trinity, really champions the number 3. It sees it as dynamic, spiritual, but also, and this is key, as fundamentally unstable and incomplete.
To become psychologically whole, Jung said, you need the stability of 4, the quaternity. This means you have to integrate that fourth element that our culture so often pushes aside, things like the physical world, the feminine principle, or even your own shadow self. It's only by grounding that dynamic 3 with a stable 4 that you can find real balance.
Okay, so we've got the mystic, who's decoding the cosmos. We've got the builder, who's constructing the soul. And we've got the psychologist, who's mapping the mind. Let's put it all together and see how their languages line up.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Just look at that top row. Whether you call it the monad, the grand architect, or the self, every single tradition starts with this idea of an ultimate, single unity. Now look down at the rows for 3 and 4. See the pattern? 3 is always dynamic, spiritual, active. 4 is always stable, grounded, representing wholeness. It doesn't matter if you're a mystic, a builder, or a psychologist, they're all using the same numerical language. They're just speaking different dialects.
And that leaves us with one final profound question. When all these different thinkers from different eras arrive at the exact same symbolic meanings for numbers, are they actually tapping into some objective cosmic truth? Or are they just discovering a universal blueprint of the human mind itself and projecting it out onto the cosmos? In other words, is this the geometry of God, or is it the geometry of us?